I would say be yourself. You're already living the dream. You already done all of the hard work that it takes to get to a place probably, 0.1% of Americans get to, and a point that a lot of people dream about getting to. And, never forget the amount of work, the amount of sacrifice, and the amount of hours and focus that it took to get you to where you're at. Sometimes, it can feel mundane what you're doing, going to workouts every day, going to practice every day, getting yelled at, but it's truly something that we've worked extremely hard for and deliver a lot of value for the programs and schools and leagues that we love. And that, there's things that are shifting right now that I think are in the athlete's favor. And as long as we stay true to ourselves and seek out opportunities that align with our overall mission in life, you'll end up, whether you make a lot of money or get a lot of deals in college or not, you'll create habits that will last you a lifetime as an entrepreneur and as a businessman.
Hey, Texas high school football fans. It's Taylor Arenz, sideline reporter for TexasHSFootball.com and the host of the Texas HS Football Podcast. Y'all, we know that in football, speed is essential, and that's one of the most important things college coaches and recruiters look for. They see your 40 time posted on your social media profiles, but here's the problem. They don't trust the times they see. Did you know the average 40 time is off by 0.28 seconds? That is where our Texas HS Football podcast sponsor comes in. Laser Combines knows that timing is everything. They use the same official timing equipment of the NFL Combine. Laser Combines offers timing that NFL and college coaches trust. So when every 10th of a second counts, trust Laser Combines. Get timed, get recruited. Check out lasercombines.com. Welcome back to the Texas High School Football Podcast. I'm excited for everyone to get to know UCLA quarterback Chase Griffin. Chase is a Texas high school football alum from Hutto High School, and these days, Chase is making a name for himself fighting for athletes' NIL rights and is the two-time NIL Athlete of the Year. Chase even spoke in front of Congress. We talk all about that and so much more, and how Texas high school football prepared him for college. You will be impressed with Chase and how he learned all about being your own best advocate.
Hey, Taylor.
Hey, how are you? Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Well, I appreciate your time.
No, of course. Thank you for reaching out. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Well, I was doing so much research and I'm a go-getter, but I was doing some deep dive and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm getting more impressed just looking at all your stuff you've done at such a young age. It's so impressive. So I'm so excited to talk to you.
I appreciate that. I've been following along with your journey and how you've been transitioning and growing, your followership. So it's been definitely reciprocal, respected.
I appreciate it. Yep, it's a grind, and I know you know it, and it's big. We'll talk eventually into NIL, and I know it's a big aspect of what you do, and it's so important nowadays. And I don't even know where to start because we have so much to talk about, but let's just start about you. Tell me about young Chase. Where did you grow up?
Yeah, I'm from outside Austin, Texas. I went to Hutto High School. Grew up in Round Rock. I was actually born at UCLA Santa Monica. So, um, you know, grew up thinking I would maybe return back to the West Coast. So once I got the opportunity to do so, I took it. But growing up in Texas was definitely, I feel like a huge blessing. I'm glad my parents made that decision to raise me, my sister, and then now my little brother there. And I consider myself 100% a Texan.
I love it. Nothing like Texas. And I love that you know about Texas football and you grew up playing there because that's what I do. I'm a high school football reporter and you got to understand like it's big in Texas. So, did you always play football or did you play other sports growing up?
So my first sport was soccer.
Mm.
Grew up, that's where I learned how to train. So I grew up playing soccer and grew up playing the violin at age, 4. And that taught me how to lock in, how to focus, and how to dominate and compete.
Mm-hmm.
And, soccer, I played striker. I remember my cleats, I wore the Ronaldinho's. He was my favorite player.
Right.
But, after every game on Saturday, I would check out the college football games that night. And then on Sunday, I watched NFL,
Mhm.
and LaDainian Tomlinson was my favorite player. Wanted to be like him. Uh, so when I initially started playing flag football around 7, I played running back, but I was trained to play quarterback.
Mhm.
Just because my father, he didn't want me taking off those hits at running back, and then he, saw I had an aptitude to be able to articulate myself well,
Mhm.
myself, and just thought I would have a good temperament for quarterback. And then my first season of quarterback at age 10, in tackle football, I
Mhm.
think we went 8-1 or something like that. So it was a good year. I played well. And the
Started
rest,
strong.
yeah, exactly. Rest is history.
I love it. And I also love that you played the violin. So you're not only athletic, you're a little bit of artistic as well. Can you still play it?
You probably can, but I've transitioned more to musical production. So,
Oh,
I produce music now, and I've been, probably pretty serious about that over the past year and a half, 2 years now.
wow. That's really interesting. I love that you also have a tie into that as well. I used to play the saxophone and I always wish that I kept playing it because it's like such a cool skill to like bust out like, hey, I can play an instrument. So I would be like, maybe I can bust it out one day and try to retrain it. It's like riding a bike, I guess.
Yeah, hopefully. I've been considering getting an electrical violin just so that I can play, and incorporate my violin skills to
Mm-hmm.
my musical production.
Mhm. Oh, that would be like a great addition to anything. It would make it very different. It would make it stand out. I like that a lot. Well, back to high school football. How do you think Texas high school football prepared you for college?
Yeah, I think as far as being the focal point of a community and of a town from the age of like 15, when I first started playing on varsity at Hutto, was great preparation, not just for college football, but I think, helped prepare me for my success in NIL and God willing, my success onward. Um, it's always been sort of incumbent on me to represent something larger than myself. I'm the oldest sibling in my family, and I've always taken pride of representing my family, representing myself, representing my siblings and parents well. And at the same time, when you're in a town like Hutto, a lot uh, a lot sort of rides, as far as how the town feels based off how that Friday night game goes.
Mhm.
And it got to a point my junior and senior year where I never lost a home game. Uh, so every single time, people from Hutto came out to Hutto Memorial to see games, they knew, we were gonna get that dub. And
Mhm.
that was something that I took pride in. I think the other folks on my team did. And then anytime you play in an environment like that, you're also getting a lot of media. So doing a lot of interviews like this, radio appearances, etc., I think helped put me in a good place when it came time to do the same for brands.
I agree with that. High school football, and especially in Texas, really sets the stage for success because like you said, you get the interviews, you do the whole 9 yards, and you're just at the high school level. And when you're a stud QB in high school and getting all that attention, it really gives you a lot of attention, especially in a small town like Hutto. I think I've been to maybe a game, or I've definitely interviewed Hutto athletes, and it just seems like a great community. Was it always like crazy fun, those high school football games? Do you remember them looking
Oh,
back?
yeah, I mean, I remember them fondly. I remember Johnny Manziel was telling me this. He's like, "Man,
Mhm.
enjoy high school because there's really not another time."
Uh-huh.
Uh, as far as the football, it's such a yeah. I mean, it's very unique, and I think being in Texas even adds to that because it is a true production. Like it's like folks like yourself who
Mhm.
are genuinely good at their craft,
Mhm.
do a good job of covering. So shout out to all the Texas high school football media.
Oh, we appreciate it. Well, it's so funny. Like a lot of people say, like in my world for media, you have to start like a small town or just go in the middle of nowhere. But I was like, this is kind of like my small start, but it's also a large start because it is Texas high school football, and Texas is so big. So it's just crazy how like it can be so big, and you had that experience, and were able to do that. So how did you get to UCLA then?
Uh, my recruitment story was probably a lot different from other players of my production and other
Hmm.
players who ended up going to Power Fives. after my sophomore year, I still didn't have any offers. I'd thrown for over 3,000 yards, probably one of the best sophomore players in the state. And my first offer was to Yale. And how that came about, I was at a quarterback camp called the QB Collective,
Mm-hmm.
which is put on by Richmond Flowers and a lot of the quarterbacks that the quarterback coaches and NFL head coaches that he represents. It's a one of a kind camp where you get coached by actual NFL coaches. And I was just excited to be there. I was excited to compete. You know, my group, we had Justin Fields. So it was a good cohort to be with. And then at the end of that day, I had been asked by Coach Mike McDaniel, head coach currently of the Miami
I
Dolphins.
love him.
Yeah, he's awesome. He had asked me where I had offers to.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they were just, impressed with how I carried myself, how I could throw, how I went through drills, etc. And I said, no, nowhere. And he was like, well, that changes today. And he got me my first offer to Yale.
Wow.
Yeah. So, over the next probably 5 or 6 months, I started getting more and more offers
Mm-hmm.
to you know Division ones or FCS schools, and then the following year I threw for over 4,000 yards. Once again, Hutto had one of the best offenses in the state, one of the better teams in the state, and then that following summer, I got a call from Chip Kelly. And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. He was sort of new to UCLA. And
Right.
so, his last college was with Oregon. And
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking back to the Oregon days. I'm like, oh yeah, no, he had some dogs, he had some teams. So this is Chip Kelly. And he invited me out to a camp. And I said, of course, I'll be there. And I rocked the camp. It was one of the best camps I've had.
Oh yeah,
And
totally.
they offered me on the spot, and I committed on the spot. And that's how I got to UCLA.
That's so exciting. They offered it right on the spot.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
bet that,
the film was undeniable, and
right?
I think part of that was, after they offered,
Mm-hmm.
there were a lot of Power Fives that checked in. I think they were just waiting on the first one to offer.
Mm-hmm.
Recruiting is a funny game,
It is. Even more so
but
nowadays, but yeah.
yeah, but getting that offer, for me, it wasn't really about amassing a lot of offers, it's just finding the right one. And
Mhm.
I found a school that I felt like was a good match of academics and football. I had most of the Ivy League offers, so I felt like if I was passing on Harvard, I couldn't pass on it for a school that may have really good football, but not as prestigious academics. And I felt like UCLA sort of alleviated the opportunity cost for me.
Mhm. I love that you were able to find a school that was perfect for you, and it's a great school. And a lot of things like the recruiting process, and it's a benefit for you. You were there in person, and they're able to actually get to know you because it's more than just being an athlete. You have to be well educated, presentable, and being able to like really be coachable because that's a big another part of it of high school football and football as well is being able to learn and grow. And UCLA is a fabulous school. I don't know if I was there probably about a year ago, but did you know that the WWE auditions were there?
No.
So auditioned to be a WWE fighter, and it was
Okay.
at your campus. Yes. So they put up all the rings on your football field, like your practice field, and we were using your weight room. So I full blown got the experience at UCLA.
Oh, awesome. Yeah.
But it was during your off season, but it's a great campus and you have a lot of exposure to everything. So I'm so glad you were able to go there. And are you currently in law school? Is that what
Yeah.
you're in?
So we still at UCLA. I'm doing a master's in legal studies here at the Griffin School of Law. I finished that program in spring, and then I'm currently sort of weighing my options on my final master's program for my final year of eligibility this fall.
Oh, that's so exciting. So do you have a master's already?
Yes, I have a
Okay.
master's in education.
So impressive. I have my master's as well. And I also saw you got your bachelor's. What was it, like 2.5 years?
Yes. Yep. In public affairs at the
That
last.
is
Yeah.
so impressive. I mean, being a student athlete too, did you have to take like a massive load of courses?
Yeah. I was taking about probably 16, 17 units a quarter. And then over the summers, in
Mhm.
between 8 and 12 units. And I
Right.
came in with units from AP tests in high school.
Okay. That helps too, but still, that's so impressive. Did you even have time to sleep?
Oh yeah, I mean, I always say my entire college career, I've slept really well because I'm always busy. I'm always tired
Right.
whenever I.
That's awesome. And then, so let's talk about your NIL now. You've been called the king of NIL first, and then you went to college in January of 2019, and NIL didn't exist, but shortly thereafter, a law was passed in California, and that got the ball rolling. And in January 2021, NCAA makes it official. So, how did you then become so successful with NIL?
I mean, like I sort of said earlier, I credit some of my success with the positioning I had back in Hutto.
Hmm.
And then my senior year, I was able to not only do the media and a lot of things like that, but I was able to work directly with brands. You know, I was the Gatorade Player of the Year in Texas. I was the Ford Tough Player of the Year. I'd won awards for In-N-Out and Whataburger. So I
Hmm.
had some brand exposure. And I think throughout high school and early in my college career, I built a reputation for, doing well, whether it be on the field where the season before NIL came to be, I had the highest passer rating in the Pac-12, or, off the field, representing UCLA to the Student Athletic Leadership Team and Pac-12 Council, representing UCLA to Governor Newsom's return to training task force during COVID. So I built a good name for myself, and then I was really active on LinkedIn. One of the things that I was hard pressed about was, well, if I pass on Harvard to go to UCLA, I'm going to maximize the UCLA network.
Hmm.
And then played a huge part in that. How I carried myself on social media, other platforms played a huge part in that. And I felt like when brands were looking for their first young athlete to work with in a new advertising space, they felt like I was not only a safe choice, but also an effective choice to create the content that they wanted to see.
Hmm. Right. I mean, at this point, your resume is stacked and you're have a great personality, easy to talk on camera and put stuff out there. So you have a lot of great things going for you. So you had your business hat on. So did you have to start reading like contracts or did you have someone do that all for you?
So, I mean, as far as my contract reading, it's really,
Uh-huh.
if I see a contract that I like, I'll show it to my father.
Mm,
And
yep.
if need be, I do have lawyers on
Hmm.
standby. So I'm self-represented. I have done some deals, one-off deals with folks I know in the space who, been kind enough and willing to bring a deal my way.
Hmm.
But for the most part, all of it is inbound to me, and I'll check it out, pass it to my father, and if it's good, we're good to go.
That's cool. I feel like always having a second eyes, especially like a relative, like your dad, probably parents always know best, I feel like, and they can have that second like eyeball look at it. That's really
Yeah,
cool that you represent yourself.
yeah, self-rep. But I place a huge importance on expertise. And my father has worked in the marketing space. So
Right.
I think if my father, if I was in a situation where nobody in my family had ever really read through contracts, I would definitely, find someone who was an expert in that space. I'm just blessed and fortunate to have someone who, has some sense when it comes to reading over. And then, like I said earlier, God willing, nothing ever goes awry, but if it does, we definitely have the right team in place to handle that.
Right. That's the biggest piece of advice I've gotten. Like going into this industry, they're like, before you hire an agent, you hire a lawyer just in case. So I was like, okay, and that stuck with me.
And then, also I've been able to learn a lot through
Oh,
experience.
I'm sure.
So I'm
Are
at the
you
law.
more of like a hands-on learner?
I think you just have to be in
Right.
especially young industries, especially if you're going to be self-repped.
Hmm.
And I've been blessed to, do a lot of deals, so I have a lot of reps. So I'm learning more of the technical side and foundational terms and all of that while in law school. I'm taking a class actually this semester focused exclusively on contract law, which
Love
has
it.
been helpful, help me sort of rethink how I think about negotiations.
Hmm.
And then At the same time, I'm also a consultant on the brand side for Uniworld, and I'm a consultant on the management firm and agency side with Range Sports and Range Media Partners. So I have a very unique view, I feel, both on the talent and production side as the athlete, but also from the brand and marketer side with Range and Uniworld.
That's really cool that you're able to have both perspectives because I mean it's so different being in the different shoes of a person. I always said like as a cheerleader on the NFL, I was able to have like the perspective of a reporter and of a cheerleader. Like it's like so cool how you have all the different perspectives and it actually is in your benefit because can deal with a lot more people and understand how everyone's job works and then just it all comes together so nicely. So, what was your first campaign that you ever did?
So I think it was in either July or August of 2021.
Hmm.
And I'm very fresh. Degree did a campaign called the Breaking Limits campaign. And it was awarded many times. It was, I think, truly delivered on their KPIs and created a lot of return on investment, both just in general hits, but also earned PR. And I was blessed to be asked uh, to be considered by Rob Masters, who he's currently I think at McKinsey, but he was VP of marketing at Unilever.
Hmm.
So he had seen what I was doing on LinkedIn, and once Unilever had gone forth with doing this campaign with Degree,
Hmm.
he had reached out and said I should submit my name for it, and I ended up getting it, and the rest is history. It was a great campaign, because it's always great to be part of success. It's sort of like
Hmm.
how first season playing quarterback, we
Right.
won a lot of games.
Uh-huh.
So it gets you in the habit of, all right, I do good work, it's going to pay off. I have that confidence and immediate validation.
Hmm.
Uh, and then I did a good job. Everyone of the other athletes in the campaign did a good job. And you sort of see, and you set a precedent for yourself. This is what success in the NIL space looks like.
Hmm. It's great that you were able to have that exposure early on and kind of get that confidence booster. I think the hardest thing for me, like getting in this industry, was the confidence. But like you said, if you keep doing it and doing it, you build it and it becomes second nature. And so, how do you think the college life of a college athlete has changed since NIL?
I think from the educational sense, there's new opportunities to truly be educated, especially in
Hmm.
financial literacy, how to market yourself, the importance of remaining clean on social media, remaining clean in your life in general, and keeping a good name. Just because before, whether you had a good name or not in college, while you were in college, you couldn't capitalize off that at
Hmm.
all. And now that NIL is there, I feel like we're more aligned with the college ecosystem. And I think as revenue share comes in,
Hmm.
we'll truly be aligned with the overall, you know, league ecosystem and then college ecosystem, just because, other students who create value on college campuses are compensated as such.
Hmm.
So I think NIL added a lot of pros, and then I think it added a lot of learning opportunities where folks who had been, you know, used to almost being predators in the space and the professional athlete realm started finding ways to get into the collegiate realm, and athletes learn how to say no. Athletes learn how to look at a deal and be like, this is not,
Hmm.
good. It's not up to par. And I think having reps and practice in a space where you're marketing yourself and you realize your own value can lead to a more cumulative education, which I think is what college is truly about.
Yeah, I agree. I love that. Like, know your value. I've had situations like recently, like I have really learned that lesson. Like I gotta know my value and we're gonna add like tax and priority shipping. Like there is we have value and you have to uphold to that because things could go in your way and if you're not educated, so like some shiny thing could come in your way and you're like, oh, this is great, but it ends up it's not that great. And I know you have a podcast series as well about NIL to help other athletes, but can you give me an elevator pitch on what it takes an athlete to be successful with NIL?
I would say be yourself. You're already living the dream. You already done all of the hard work that it takes to get to a place probably 0.1% of Americans get to, and a point that a lot of people dream about getting to. And never forget the amount of work, the amount of sacrifice, and the amount of hours and focus that it took to get you to where you're at. Sometimes it can feel mundane what you're doing, going to workouts every day, going to practice every day, getting yelled at, but it's truly something that we've worked extremely hard for and deliver a lot of value for the programs and schools and leagues that we love. And that there's things that are shifting right now that I think are in the athlete's favor. And as long as we stay true to ourselves and seek out opportunities that align with our overall mission in life, you'll end up, whether you make a lot of money or get a lot of deals in college or not, you'll create habits that will last you a lifetime as an entrepreneur and as a business owner.
I love that. And I completely agree the sacrifice thing. Like you got to sacrifice a lot if you want to be successful. I look back at my college life and I was like, I didn't really do anything fun, but I also did a lot of things that made me to where I am at this age because I had to give up a lot of things, but it takes a lot of hard work. And then I also you have to know your meaning because I always say if you know your why, the how will happen on its own. You'll find how to get there. It might not be the straight path. It might be twist and turny, but you'll find a way. And I like that a lot. And so now I will just shift things over, but I saw that you testified in Congress on behalf of college athletes. Can you tell me about that experience? I thought that was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great experience, huge blessing. I was fortunate to work with um, Congresswoman Trahan's team from Massachusetts. I think 4 or 5 months ago,
Right.
when her and Senator Murphy released a bill uh, that was focused on NIL rights, both for domestic and international students, um, college athletes, and also preserving Title IX, as well as setting a good framework for revenue share. Is still the only bill that's been introduced in Congress that I support as far as a college athletic economic focused bill. And I provided a quote for that, did some media for that, and then probably around 2 weeks before the hearing that I spoke at, I
Mm-hmm.
was reached out to by her team, and they had asked if I would be willing to testify at Congress or at least speak with the House subcommittee uh, on the Democratic side as being a witness. And so I went through that process, sort of an interview process, and then fortunately, I was picked to go and represent as a Democratic witness at the hearing, and it was a great opportunity. I hope that both sides of the aisle, remain true to their words at
Right.
the hearing where they said they did want it to be a bipartisan policy
Mm-hmm.
if they create one. But frankly, I think NIL is a young market, and revenue shares is going to be an even younger market. But there's already, formulas in place that have been working both on the professional side and on the school side with other things such as research
Mm-hmm.
that can be followed. And I think college athletics is at a state of progress. And
Mm-hmm.
anyone or any entity that's getting in the way of that progress, I think is doing so to the detriment, definitely of the athletes, but additionally to the market as a whole.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's incredible that you were able to go there and represent and be able to speak. I feel like that's like a once in a lifetime opportunity. And it was really cool that you were able to do that and just not for you, but for a whole large group of people that it's helping. And did you have to ask any questions or did people ask you any questions when you're up there?
Yes, so I was probably asked, I would say north of 20 questions.
Oh,
Um, you know, both from probably more than that,
hmm
but by the Democratic House Subcommittee members
right.
and Republican House Subcommittee members.
hmm Did they have to prep you or anything?
We did a couple prep calls, but for
Uh-huh.
the most part, I was really speaking from the heart,
Hard.
and I'm really grateful for my family. They helped
hmm
me throughout my testimony, uh, through writing my written testimony. And then once
hmm
it came to refining that written down to the oral testimony,
hmm
it was really just about speaking from the heart
Right.
and telling the story of what NIL has meant to me and so many other college athletes, and what bills that threaten that freedom do to alienate college athletes once again from the American dream.
Right. I mean, it's easy to answer any question that for something you're so passionate about. So I'm sure that was an amazing process and you were able to just speak from the heart. So I love that. And also I see you transitioning. You also do a lot of public speaking. I did my first speech the other day at a college and I loved it. So how did you get into speaking?
I think it's something that I'll continue to grow in. I think
Uh,
as a skill, if you're able to do it, it's probably one of the best skills you can build out in your entire lifetime. My father tells me conversation rules the nation, and it's true to an
It's
extent.
true.
So many people with great ideas, but it's truly the ability to articulate and connect with audiences that I think cultivates. And as a quarterback, you have to be good at that.
Right.
I've been talking to folks, whether it be in my cohort or in my team or my class for over a decade at this
Uh-huh.
point. And being able to do that, I think is something that translates to every part of your life. And
Mhm.
if you're able to do that in a way that uplifts and progresses, positive ideas forward, I think,
Mhm.
uh, that's one of the things that we're called to do as human beings.
I love that because, like you said, a lot of people get terrified to be up there and speak to anyone. For us, it's like second nature. But some people get so terrified, and I just love going up there, and if you can just impact one person, if one person learned, like, just something from what you said, it's like you did your job, and it's just one of those things that's, like, so rewarding, and you feel like you make an impact, and there's nothing better when you do that. Speaking of, like, impacts, I see you also have a foundation, which that is my dream to have a foundation one day, so that's impressive you have one while you're still in school. So can you tell me about the Chase Griffin Foundation?
Yeah. So I started the Chase Griffin Foundation, I think probably around 6 months ago. I may be a little wrong. But what we've done is last season we did a campaign where, in partnership with Groundswell, where my foundation is housed, I personally donated $11 for every point that we scored as a football team. And
Oh,
over the past 2.5 years of my NIL career, I've personally donated over $40,000 to various causes, especially the LA Regional Food Bank.
mm,
And I'm proud of it. And the best part about earning money and creating good financial habits is I was also able to create a habit of philanthropy. And it's something that over time, God willing, as I make much more and more, I'm able to give much more and more.
mhm.
And I'm able to continue to help encourage others to do the same.
Yeah, you should be so proud. That's incredible. I mean, already you've already contributed so much and I just think that's so amazing that you're able to do that. Do you ever like go to the food bank and help out and like
Uh,
package the meals? Have you ever done that?
so I've been a couple times. It's a little tougher for me now,
I know, yeah.
just with
Busy.
seeing school. Um, but growing up, I used to serve at the Round Rock Serving Center,
Oh,
and
I
so
love that.
that's really where I saw the importance of those serving centers in the
Mhm.
communities. And you see, folks that maybe are at your school or have kids at your school
Mhm.
relying on a food pantry to be able to feed
Mhm.
their family. And it just shows you that food insecurity is not something that's, some international problem or somewhere far, far away. It's very
Mhm.
much a domestic issue.
Yeah.
And it affects people that we care about and interact with every single day. There's folks on UCLA's campus that struggle
Mhm.
with food insecurity. So, at this point in time, I think that's been my primary focus.
Mhm.
But God willing, as I grow out my foundation, as I grow out my personal ability to give, I'm able to expand my reach as far as the causes that I'm able to give to and help spotlight.
Well, you're at a great start with like helping people in need of food. But I mean, I would go as a cheerleader for like the food banks. We would do that all the time. But just like us spending an hour packaging all the foods, they're like, "Oh, you fed 10,000 people." I'm like, "That's insane." Just like an hour of work. And when you think about it, like a lot of people are in need of it, and some people don't really express it, but you're helping so many people, and it's just so great at everything you do. And I know you have a lot of people that you mentor, and you probably had a lot of people that you looked up to. So who was someone that you looked up to the most?
I mean, I say what I looked up to the most was less a person, but more like an ideology.
Mm-hmm.
Christian, I still Christian, and
Mm-hmm.
so I believe Christ gave us two things, love the Lord and love each other. And I think the best way of showing that is by, committing yourself to your duty each and every day and giving your exact fullest. And then every interaction that you have with a person, try to make that the best possible interaction that could be.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's saying what's up to the teammate, like genuinely asking how's your day going, or what you got later, you got that? All right, Godspeed. You're gonna do great on it. So being a master encourager and also carrying that same joy and the things that you do. And I have a lot of respect for both of my parents. They raised me in a house where I never questioned whether or not somebody loved me. And I never questioned whether or not if I said I wanted to do something that if I didn't work hard enough, that I wouldn't be able to achieve it. So when I look back on how I grew up, I was raised in a house of faith and a household of love. And, God willing, those are the same feelings that I pass on to my children someday.
That's incredible. I always say that everything happens for a reason. God has a plan. And I love that you come from such a supportive family. Do your family, do they get to come out to see you in California a lot?
Not a lot, but during the season, my father comes to a lot of the games, and it's always great seeing my family. It's even better when I'm able to go home and we go back to the house I was raised in,
Yeah.
and for a second it feels like everything's nice and quiet again. We're all so busy. My sister's killing it. She's overseas right now and
Oh,
studying. She's at Stanford. So whenever she's not, you know, doing deals with JP Morgan and such,
uh-huh.
I'll spend some time at home and see my little brother.
Oh, that's amazing. How old's your little brother?
He's only 10.
He's only 10. Okay. Awesome. Well, does he play any sports yet?
He just got into flag football, and
Oh,
he's
okay.
hooping right now. He's been out there getting rebounds. He's tall for his age, uh, so I'm excited to see how he turns out. But he's already awesome, and then
Hmm.
always sister.
Well, he has a great older brother to look up to and ask for tips. That's so awesome. So you've already accomplished a lot in your life and you're so young. So what is the dream for you? Like your ultimate dream?
I'm not a huge planner, but I'm
I
someone
feel that.
who Yeah, but I am someone who looks at the things that I'm doing well and that I'm good at and tries to maximize those opportunities, and then looks at what are the extremely unique opportunities that I have that I feel like get me closer to my goals. And overall, my life goal is to build wealth early and then go into public service and philanthropy. As long as I do all that while maintaining my faith, I think I'm winning in life.
Hmm. I agree.
Um, yeah, so I think when I look at the different things I'm doing, like I produce music, that's something that, God willing, I'm able to do to the day that I die because I love doing it.
Hmm.
As far as media, I think continuing on the branded side, but also getting over to more traditional styles, hosting, possibly broadcasting, producing content, being talent and content, continue my ability to grow in that. And then one of the coolest things I do, I'm a fellow at the UC Investment Office. So the University of California, it's it's a huge one of those institutional investors, and the
Hmm.
CIO there believes in me. And anytime I find someone who has expertise and power is in a powerful position that believes in me, I always sort of do what I need to do to continue to learn from that person. So I consider him one of my closest mentors, and I look forward to continuing to build and work with him. We definitely have some large goals for myself, some good aspirations, and as long as you're around people who share those same aspirations for you and truly believe in you and will do what they can do to empower you, I'll continue my commitment there.
Hmm. I love it. You do it all.
Try-
Trying to. You sound like me. I do so many things. I'm like, why limit myself to one thing when you can do it all?
Well, I mean, it becomes sort of a habit of just how you treat
Um,
everything. When you realize uh, when you get in the habit of being productive, it's really not an insane amount of work. You know,
mhm.
it is a lot of work, but it is always feasible that whatever you focus on that day, you're able to give your 100% effort. Because it's not like I'm staying up all night, like I'm still getting sleep. So every single day I feel recharged and ready to go. And I'm
Mhm.
excited for things.
Totally. I feel that. Like if you plan it out well enough, like I have a lot of jobs, but they fall different seasons. So I do a lot, but like you plan it out and it all works out well. So you can be well rested and actually have your self-care.
Yeah. If you want something done quickly, give it to a busy person.
There you go. I love it. Well, this has been so much fun. Is there anything that you didn't really say about your career or anything you're doing that you wanted to say?
Yeah, definitely. Peep the Athletes Bureau.
Hmm.
It's a athlete-owned newsletter that I started, currently published. We have some brands starting to jump on as sponsors. But most importantly, there's been a lot of new developments, especially on the employment side and labor side, as well as Project D1 probably going to be instituted into place. And so, if you're an athlete or someone who loves athletes and want to keep following along the economic sphere of college athletics, tune into the Athletes Bureau. We're on Substack.
Wow, that's amazing. I didn't realize that was, I saw on your like social media, the Athlete Bureau, but I didn't realize it was yours. That's incredible. Did you write for it?
Yeah, I mean, so I write the publishers,
Mhm.
post every single week, and then the team of writers that we have are exemplary. They're all excellent. They're all around college campuses and understand the importance of college athletics and the college fabric. And I'm really proud of how our team's been doing early off of launch, and we have some high goals as far as driving subscribership and viewership for our video related content and polling.
Wow. Well, you are going to rule the world. I swear. I am so impressed by you. So cool. Well, before I let you go, we're going to do a fun little game. And where I'm calling it my 2-minute drill. You say first down for a yes, and then fumble for a no.
Okay.
Okay. So this first one will be movies.
First down.
First down. Okay. FaceTime.
Um, oh, like third down. I'm not a huge FaceTime.
I love it. Third down. Okay. Guacamole.
First down.
First down. Secret handshake.
I don't have many of those, so I'll go fumble on that. They are cool.
Right. Video games.
First down.
Uh broccoli with cheese.
That's huge fumble.
Do you like broccoli at all?
That's like a fumble to end the game. Yeah. So
The cheese doesn't help it either. No. Oh, it's so funny. Talk to your pets.
I don't have a pet, so I gotta go fumble.
There we go. Live in a big city.
First down.
All right, cool. Leftovers.
Uh, Prior to the invention of the air fryer, I would have said fumble, but now with the air fryer, it's just as good as when you first get it. So first down.
That's true. That's true. Board games.
I like board games. First down.
Okay. Food delivery.
First down. 100%. Shout out Post. Shout out Postmates.
Literally, it's how I survive. Road trips.
I would rather fly. Fumble.
Yeah. Did you have to ever drive from Texas to California?
No.
No.
However, I think I've done. I don't know. Did we do Texas to New Orleans? I think we did that one. That was long.
I've done Texas to Cali. It's
Yeah,
not fun. It's not fun. Much prefer flying. Okay, next one. Cooking.
I like cooking. First down.
Mhm. Early mornings.
It depends for what. Early mornings for a workout, not the best,
Or
but
like,
early.
I guess like, are you like an early riser in the morning?
As soon as I get up on the first time,
Okay. What's a typical time you wake up in the morning?
around 6:30, I like getting
Okay,
sleep.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll say yeah. Okay. We'll do two more. Broadway musical.
Bumble. It doesn't inspire me like TV shows and movies 100%. However, I do appreciate the workmanship and artistry that goes
Right.
into
There you go. And then your last one is coffee ice cream.
uh first down. I'm not a huge coffee lover, but I like it more as ice cream.
Oh, great. Well, thank you so much. This is so cool. Before you go, could you tell us one fun fact that we haven't learned about you today?
Fun fact. Hmm. I don't know. Instead of giving a fun fact about me, I'll give a fun fact about my little brother.
Okay.
He writes really good comics.
Oh,
He
that's cool.
he has a great knack for writing funny comics.
That's so cool. Does he just write them or does he draw the pictures with it too? Or is
I
that
think
all involved?
he draws little pictures. I think he's
Oh,
still
shoot.
as far as having outlines for comics, he's actually very sharp about that.
Nice. Well, that's a whole different career field.
Oh
That's so
no,
fun.
he's gonna do it all. You think I'm doing it all? Or my sister is.
Well, it
Both of
sounds
them.
like you guys have a great family and have it just like runs in the family, the greatness. Well, I love it. Well, thank you so much again for your time. It's been so much fun, and I just can't wait to see all the things you do.
Oh, I appreciate that. No, thank you for having me on the show. I'm glad you reached out.
Hello, Texas high school football fans. This is KP Kelly, the editor-in-chief at TexasHSFootball.com. On behalf of everyone at Texas HS Football, I wanted to thank you for a tremendous season and for your support of our website and our digital media content. And most importantly, I wanted to thank you for your support of the Texas high school football community and the student athletes. Thank you. I also wanted to take a moment to ask you to join us in thanking our podcast and state championship games sponsor, Jamar Roofing. Jamar Roofing is the original Texas roofers for over 50 years. They offer fair pricing, expert craftsmanship, and local owners who care since 1970. Visit them at jmarroofing.com or call 512-441-8437. Because of great sponsors like Jamar Roofing and great fans like you, we're able to provide the content that we do. A big thanks to Jamar Roofing, and again, a big thanks to you.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode. Be sure to subscribe to this podcast and check out TexasHSFootball.com for all things Texas high school football. We'll see you next week.